Hello, today I will be reading my poems created by the themes of Trevor Noah, Born a Crime, and Tara Westover, Educated. Poem 1, The Bad Kid and the Quiet Girl. He ran through streets, making jokes. She stayed in her room, planning exits in her head. Two different kinds of surviving the same mess, both hoping tomorrow feels less heavy than today. He laughed when things got rough, because what else? She went quiet, counting her reps. Teachers were basically life and mistakes. Grades were just whether you made it to the morning. He turned fear into punchlines so it couldn't bite. She turned fear into lists of things to learn. Different tools, same reason to use them. Keep the bad stuff from getting all the way in. People saw him and thought chaos. People saw her and thought she was fine. Both wrong takes, honestly, but common. Because no one sees the whole movie. If you put them next to each other on a page, it looks like night and morning trying to shake hands. But it's really the same sunrise showing up slow, just with different colors around the edges. Growing up felt like a test nobody explained, so they guessed and kept guessing anyway. Some days they failed, some days they passed, but they never stopped showing up. Poem 2, Skin in Silence. His skin broke rules he never wrote. Her silence kept peace she never wanted. Both unfair, both real, both the kind of thing that sticks. He hid because the laws said so. She hid because the house said so. Different courts, the same sentence, time served in childhood. People judge fast, like the first headline is a whole story. They don't read the fine print, which is where the pain lives. He learned to move when the street got loud. She learned to stay still when the room got louder. Motion and stillness both count as answers, depending on the question. You can't peel skin off, and quiet doesn't wash out either. So they carried both like backpacks, heavy but necessary for the trip. One day, the straps finally loosened a little, not magic, just work and time. They didn't drop the weight completely, but they learned how to shift it. Poem 3, Schools You Don't See. His teachers were sidewalks, bus radios, wrong turns. Hers were library pages borrowed in secret. No attendance sheet, no bell, just lessons sneaking up on them. He learned accents, timing when to run. She learned dates, theories, and how to stay anyway. Both got graded by reality, which curves nothing. There wasn't a chalkboard, but there was a window. They stared through it so hard, the glass started to remember them. Some nights, the homework was simple. Don't get caught, don't get hit. Other nights, it was harder. Believe there's more than this. He took notes on jokes and mixtapes. She took notes in margins and prayers. Same idea. Keep knowledge close because you'll need it later. If school is a building, they were outside of it. But if school is learning, they were inside. That's the loophole they lived through. And honestly, it worked. Poem 4, Fights. He fought kids who pushed first, then laughed like it was nothing. She fought a brother and didn't laugh. Because some fights didn't end when they stopped. Bruises fade slower on the inside. And everyone knows that but acts like they don't. So they walked it off in different ways, trying not to limp in public. He told the story like a stunt scene. She told no story at all. Both versions are honest because honesty has moods. A crowd outside makes the pain look smaller. A quiet room makes it look huge. They survived both kinds of arenas. No trophies, just breathing. Brothers can be shields or hurricanes, sometimes both in the same day. It's complicated to love someone who keeps changing the weather. Still, they kept forward momentum, shaky but real. You can't rewrite the past, but you can stop it from writing you. Poem 5, The Mother's Voices. His mom prayed like a siren, loud and bright. Her mom mixed herbs and said, "Be careful." 2 kinds of love with the same job. Keep the kid alive long enough to choose. Sometimes love sounded like rules, sometimes like hope with sore feet. Neither was perfect, both were stubborn in a good way. Words can build houses or fences, depends where you put the door. They learned where the hinges were and when to step through. It is wild how advice can feel heavy until the day you need it. Then it fits like a jacket. You said you hated last winter. If you list the things they carried, the mother's voices are at the top, right next to the keys and worn-out notebooks, and the secret plan to leave. The voices didn't always agree, but somehow they harmonized. That's how the future sneaks in. 2 melodies holding 1 note. Poem 6, Mama the Fighter. She drove through danger with a steady face, paid with prayers when cash ran out, didn't ask permission from fear, just kept going. Rules bent around her because they had to, not because they wanted to. She made space where there wasn't any, like a door pressed into a wall. He watched and learned the recipe. A little faith, a lot of grit, and jokes on top like frosting, so the hard parts go down easier. Strength doesn't sound or look the same every day. Sometimes it's loud, sometimes it's quiet. Either way, it lifts what needs lifting, even when nobody claps. If hero is too shiny a word, call her a toolbox. She fixed what she could and carried what she couldn't fix. He'll tell you she saved him, not in a movie way. In a rides the bus at dawn and tries again anyways. The kind that lasts. Poem 7, The Prophet Dad. He called himself a prophet, but prophecies all sounded like rules. End of the world this, danger that, meanwhile the dishes still needed doing. It's funny how fear dresses up as wisdom, and people nod because they're tired, but kids notice the cost. They always do. He hated doctors, schools, all of it, like safety was a trap. She learned to map her own truth, even when the lights flickered. Some voices fill a house like smoke, making it hard to breathe or think. So she opened a window, called leaving, and the air got better. Prophecies don't hold up forever, not against questions with real feet. She walked those questions out the door, and they walked to a future. Maybe he still talks to thunder, but it answers him less now. Silence can be a kind of weather too, and she picked up that forecast. Poem 8, Faith Both Ways. His house used faith like a flashlight, hers sometimes like a lock. Same word, different tools, same prayer, different doors. He learned hope that laughs. She learned doubt that thinks. Both are youthful in storms depending on the wind. Some nights belief tucked them in. Other nights they kept them awake. Either way, they faced the dark, and morning still showed up. If faith is fire, it can be warm or burn. They kept matches anyway, because cold is worse. He carried sounds in his pocket. She carried questions in hers. Both counted as survival. And that's the real point. Later, they compared notes and laughed. Turns out they were both right enough to make it here, which is what matters. Poem 9, Prayers and Books. He prayed for safe exits and softer landings. She prayed for classrooms with open doors, different wishes, same ache, the kind that keeps you awake. He learned on the run. She learned in the margins. Both wrote answers with whatever pens they could find. A prayer is a letter to whoever's listening. A book is a letter to whoever will. They mailed both into the future and waited on replies. Sometimes the answer was no, but no can point the way. Left turn, right turn, try again. You keep moving. If you stack the pages and the prayers together, they look like stairs. That's how they climbed out of small rooms. They still keep one of each nearby, just in case. Old habits, sure, but good ones. Poem 10, Houses Split in Two. His house split by laws about skin, hers split by commands about everything. You learn to walk around the crack, or you fall through. They tried being quiet, they tried being perfect. Cracks don't care about manners, they just widen. So they packed small bags, jokes, books, faith, doubt, and that stubborn little seed called leaving. A broken house still teaches lessons, not just ones on posters. Lesson 1, find a window. Lesson 2, use it. Outside was colder, but the air was honest. They breathed deeper than before, and it hurt in a good way. Home eventually became a verb. Build, don't beg. They're still building it, slow but solid. Poem 11, Running for Freedom. He ran because footsteps behind him were laws. She ran because footsteps inside were louder. Running wasn't cowardly, it was smart. You learn your routes. Alley, field, library, bus stop. Map it so well your feet know it, even when your head forgets. Sometimes they ran together in spirit, but different from places to the same idea. The part of the world that lets you breathe without asking first. People love to say, stand your ground, but sometimes the ground is fire, so you move. That's a kind of brave. Later, they slowed to a walk, looked back at the smoke, and didn't feel guilty for once. Freedom isn't a finish line, it's a habit. They keep practicing, mile after mile. Poem 12, Climbing the Mountain. School looked like a mountain to her. Freedom looked like one to him. Both steep, both worth the blisters. You don't sprint a mountain, you negotiate with it. One step, then another, even when your legs argue. People at the bottom yell advice. People at the top forget directions, so you listen to your feet, the only honest tour guides. Halfway up feels worse than the start because quitting looks cheap and shiny. They kept going anyway, ugly but forward. At the top, the view wasn't perfect, but it was wide enough sometimes it meant options. They marked the trail for whoever's next, not with flags, just with proof it can be done. Poem 13, Hunger. He was hungry for space, noise, beats. She was hungry for sentences that opened doors. Same stomach, different cravings, both painful when empty. You learn to stretch meals and moments to make small things last longer. A joke can be dinner, a chapter can be a day. Hunger teaches focus and a stubborn kind of patience. If full is rare, you stop wasting bites. They promised themselves seconds someday, not just scraps. That promise kept them walking, past the easy exits. People say, be grateful, and sure, okay, but also be hungry enough to change the menu. And now, and then they're full. And it's weird and good. They save a little for later because they remember. Poem 14, Escape Routes. He escaped by making everyone laugh first, so the danger forgot his name. She escaped by reading past the walls until the walls got bored. Neither plan was fancy. Both were effective. That's the best kind of plan, honestly. They compared exits like blueprints, same destination circled in red. A room with a door on the inside that can only open. If the handle sticks, kick it quietly. If the hinges squeak, oil them with patience. Leaving isn't betrayal, it's maintenance. Fix yourself, then see who follows. Every escape changes your stride, makes you lighter and stranger. They learned to like that version of themselves. Poem 15, Cost of Leaving. Freedom has a checkout line, no coupons accepted. He paid in friends, she paid in family. The receipt is long and boring, with items like silence and holidays. You read it later and wince, but you still keep the bag. Some losses echo like an empty chair at a good table. You sit anyway and eat what you earned. Guilt shows up uninvited, wearing your old shoes. You let it talk, then send it walking. If staying was cheaper, they would have stayed. Math is math, even when it hurts. They don't regret leaving, they regret needing to. That's a different weight, and they can carry it.